Hello students, welcome to FS Cloud. My name is Shashmita. We have an app by the name Careers Cloud which you can go and download through the Play Store. Once you have downloaded the application, you will easily be able to log in using your Gmail ID. And once you have logged in, you will be redirected to this page where you will be getting this URL. And there will be option for home, all courses, my courses and down section in this application. You will be getting multiple PDFs, multiple content on daily basis that will be enhancing your learning. Under Crack Current Affairs, you will be able to see multiple options. First one is Current Affairs English. We upload the day-to-day basis news in the English format. And apart from English PDF, we also provide them in Hindi format. And this Banking Awareness, we upload a PDF every month. So this PDF will contain the banking news, banking and the finance news of. So this PDF will contain the banking news, banking and the finance news of that respective month. And current affairs exam PDF will have two categories. One is that most important news of that particular month will be uploaded in this current affairs exam PDF, and also exam perspective PDF will also be uploaded. If you see for SBI PO, RRB or RBI, all these, next is special CA. This will contain union budget, economic survey, and also the most important events that had taken place globally as well as nationally. Like for example, G20 events, Olympics. And next most important is topic wise. So the entire news of that particular month will be segregated into different topics like obituary. Next, and in order to recollect whatever you've read, we also provide you with topic wise quizzes. Apart from that, we also provide state current affairs. Now, here if you see, we provide you with the day-to-day PDF, and this we provide you with the weekly PDF. So that particular week news will be compiled into a PDF and in question and answer format in English, and will be uploaded here. And to enhance your learning, you can also, to enhance and strengthen your learning, you can also attend the quiz. Here we provide you with the entire news of that particular week. But here we provide you with the entire news of that particular week. But here we take the top 60 most important news and we upload it in this PDF in question and answer format. Apart from weekly, we also provide you the monthly ones. This PDF will contain detailed view of that particular month news, and this will have a brief format of the same news. This will be in the form of a question and answer format, and this will have the top 100 question and answer of that particular month. We also provide you with the PIB news on a day-to-day basis, which you can go and read in these particular tabs. Apart from that, we also provide the union budget and economic survey. You can also read after reading the PDF. You can also go and attend the quiz. This is available in the special CA category. We also provide state level current affairs. So this will be very helpful for students who are preparing for state level exams. For example, if you are preparing for Tamil Nadu state level exams, then you can click this tab and you will be able to see all the current affairs or news related to Tamil Nadu. Apart from that, we also provide PDF from the exam perspective. Suppose you are preparing for RBI Assistant Mains, then this tab will contain 5 to 6 months of current affairs, which has high probability of being asked in RBI Assistant Mains. Similarly, for SBI PO, RRB PO, Clerk Mains, all these are being given under this section. And also, we provide separate content-wise, topic-wise current affairs like national affairs, government schemes, international affairs, banking and finance, economy and businesses, MOUs, and committees and meetings. All these different types of news are segregated in these particular categories. Hello students, welcome to our new initiative. In this initiative, we will be uploading the weekly current affairs on banking and finance section. So this will be uploaded on every Monday. And so on the whole, per month, you will have totally 4 videos related to this topic. And apart from just providing you with the banking and finance news, we also provide you the conceptual explanation so that this will enhance and also strengthen your knowledge about these topics. Today, we will be covering November 1st week banking and finance awareness news. Moving to the first news. The first news is about RBI mandates NBFC to maintain at least 25% borrowings from the capital markets. So we know that there is a slight difference between NBFC and banks. So NBFC, if you see, there are many types of NBFC depending upon the activity they do and also upon whether they can take the deposits from the public or not. If you see, there is deposit taking NBFC and non-deposit taking NBFC, 2 types. So deposit taking NBFC, they are allowed to take money from the public, just like banks. And but one difference is that they can take only time deposits and not demand deposits. That is one difference between the deposit taking NBFC and the banks. And in case of non-deposit taking NBFCs, they cannot take any money from the public. That is, even time deposits, they are not allowed to accept from the public. So apart from this, these NBFCs, they depend a lot on the banks for the source of money. So if you want to provide loan, you have to have money, right? So where does the money come to this NBFC? So they get a lot of money from the banks. So what RBI has told that you should now banks should not be the only or the main source of fund to the NBFC. It has to borrow money a lot from the capital markets, and now it has mandated that at least 25% of its total borrowing should be from the capital market. And so this is the main reason to bring this, that the over dependence of the NBFC on the banks should be reduced. That is the main reason to bring this. So the Reserve Bank of India mandated NBFC to ensure that at least 25% of their borrowings come from the capital instruments. So what are these capital market instruments? These are commercial papers, non-convertible debentures, external commercial borrowings. So these are the capital market instruments. So this regulation is part of the RBI's ongoing efforts to enhance the financial stability and risk management practices within the NBFC sector. The main reason to do this change is that NBFCs have high share of bank borrowing. In November 2023, one more change had been brought by the RBI, that is, they had increased the risk weight on the bank loans to the NBFC by 25%. So this risk weight was increased for the NBFC, and so there was a slowdown that was seen or that was visible. This change led to a sharp slowdown in bank loans to the NBFC. So if you see, according to the RBI's latest data, the bank loans to the NBFC grew by 12% year on year to 15 lakh crore as of August 2024 as compared to 21%. So a year back, the growth of the bank loan to the NBFC was 21%, but now it has reduced tremendously to 12%. So these are all very important data. So do remember these data. RBI's move aims to promote a more diversified funding structure for NBFC, reducing systemic risk associated with concentrated borrowing sources. So apart from, we know that objective question that can be asked from here is mostly this 25%. Apart from that, you can use this in your descriptive answers. So if you have a question about NBFC, then you can add these 2 points, like 25% for the capital market instruments, and also the risk weight that had been recently increased in the November month. So all this can be added to your descriptive answers. Next is that interest rate on the Government of India floating rate bond 2034 set at 7.53% for the next 6 months. So floating rate bonds are the bonds that whose interest rate keeps changing. So RBI here, it fixes the interest rate for every 6 months. So now it has fixed a rate of 7.53% per annum for the upcoming 6-month period, that is from the October month to the April 2025. Next is that RBI's gold reserves rise to 855 metric tons. So what is this? We know that the forex of the RBI consists of the foreign currency, the SDR, the reverse transposition, and also this gold reserves. We read about this foreign reserves just 1 or 2 classes behind. So here gold plays an important role in that forex. So if you see now, RBI holds around 854.73 metric ton of gold as on September 2024. Out of this 854, 510 metric ton is stored domestically within India. That is around 60% is stored domestically in India. It has been increased from 50%. So as on March 2024, only 50% was stored in India. Now it has been increased to 60%. That is, we have relocated around 102 tons of gold from the Bank of England's vault. So if you see, the remaining 324 metric ton is held in the safe custody at the Bank of England and the Bank for International Settlement. So out of the entire foreign exchange reserves that the Reserve Bank holds, around gold constitutes around 9.32% of the total reserves. It is up from the 8.15% and at the end of March 2024. So remember that it is around 9% of the total forex reserves, and now India holds around 60% of the total gold reserves domestically. Next news is about ADB loan approved for the West Bengal. So Asian Development Bank has approved a loan amount of $241 million to enhance the power distribution in the West Bengal. So this program, it will be in alignment with the already existing scheme that is in operation in the West Bengal. So that is the revamped distribution sector scheme. This was introduced in 2022. The main aim is to strengthen the DISCOM, that is distribution companies. The operational efficiency of power distribution companies to increase their operational efficiency. This scheme was launched in 2022 by the Government of India and the Government of West Bengal. So the total budget outlay of this scheme is $197 million, and the time period for which this scheme will be active is between 2022 and 2026. So this program will be in alignment with this scheme. So this scheme will result in 4,700 gigawatt of annual electricity savings and will also help to avoid 3.36 million tons of annual greenhouse gas emission. So according to the Asian Development Bank, the West Bengal Distribution System Strengthening Program, it will improve the electricity distribution for around 8.96 million customers in the 7 districts of the West Bengal. The main thing here to be remembered is that ADB has provided a loan of $241 million to enhance the power distribution in West Bengal. And also it is in alignment with the scheme called Revamped Distribution Sector Scheme, whose budget outlay is $197 million. Asian Development Bank president is Masatsugu Asakawa, headquarter is in Manila, and it was established in 1966. We have launched a new course called Static Banking Awareness course. Now this course will be helpful for students who are preparing for the banking exams and for the regulatory body exams. And also recently you would have seen Paytm Bank in news frequently. So when an aspirant reads this news, he would have ample number of questions like what is a payment bank, what are the norms for it, and which is the committee that has launched it. So this Static Banking Awareness course lays a foundation to the current banking and finance news. Now, you have to download our Careers Cloud to access this course. Once you have logged into our app, you can go and click this All Courses icon, and then you'll be redirected to this page. In this, you have to go and click the Static Banking Awareness course, and under the Details tab, you will be able to see a brief about this course. And under the Part tab, it will contain all the contents, all the topics of the contents that are currently available in this course. We are working on this continuously, and this will be completed within 2 months. Under the Free tab, you can go and access one content, that is the origin and development content, for free. You can go and read this content and have an idea about this course. After reading this content, do attend the quiz that is also available under the same tab. Now, our team has allocated ample amount of time and resources to curate this content. We have created this content from various books and from various verified websites. Our content is better than any book that is available in the market. This is because we update this content on a dynamic basis. For example, there are currently 39 DRTs that are available in the country now. In future, if one more DRT is created or added, then it would become 40. So we would update this content on a dynamic basis. But in case of books, you have to wait for the next publication for this updated content. Nowadays, a lot of practical questions have been asked in the banking exams. For example, how many public sector banks are available on the stock exchange? Which is the payment bank that is being listed on the stock exchange? So, we try to cover as many practical questions as possible in this course. Apart from this, we also provide you a question bank that will contain around 3,000 questions and the previous year questions along with it. We also have a dedicated tab that will release the important RBI notification and the frequent news released by the RBI. You can use this code B15 to avail 15% discount. This is one of the highest discounts that we have offered until now. So do avail this code B15 while you purchase the course. The next news is RBI orders ban on sanction and dispersal of loans from 4 NBFC. So this is a very important news. So recently, if you see, even some 2 or 3 months back also, the RBI had banned the IAFL from lending new gold loans or renewal of gold loans because there were certain discrepancies that were observed. Similarly, here also, these NBFCs were charging exorbitant interest rate from the customers. Due to that, the RBI has ordered a ban on sanction and dispersal of loans. That is, they cannot provide any fresh loans to the customers. So remember, the all 4 names very important. Ashirwad Microfinance Limited, Arohan Financial Services Limited, DMI Finance Private Limited, and Navi Finserv Limited. So these are the 4 NBFCs. So if you see, the interest spread charged over their cost of funds, which are found to be excessively high and not in compliance with the RBI regulation. So what is this cost of fund? So if you see, any bank or NBFC, they will provide loan to the customers, and in return they will charge, they will get the interest and the principal return back, right? So how do the money, from where do they get the money to provide these loans? It is either from the public, or from the bank, or from the capital instruments. So this is the cost of funds, because when they get money from the public, they have to pay interest in return to the public, right, to the depositors, right? Similarly, when they borrow money from the bank, in turn also they have to give an interest amount to the bank. Similarly, in case of capital instruments also. So this fund, they have a cost that has to be bared by the NBFC. So above this cost, they will charge an interest such that the NBFC is profitable, is earning money. So there is a limit on it. But these NBFC, these 4 NBFC, they have charged exorbitant interest rate from the customers, and due to this, the RBI has ordered this ban. Next is that RBI adds 13 new firms to its alert list of the unauthorized forex trading platforms. So Reserve Bank of India, it has added 13 new firms, and total now it has come to around 88. There are totally 88 unauthorized forex trading platforms listed in this list. So RBI has also clarified that if an entity does not appear on the list, then it should not be assumed to be authorized by the RBI. So there are n number of unauthorized forex trading platforms that may be in existence. So whatever has come to RBI's notice, that has been listed in the list. So if it is not in the list, it doesn't mean that it is surely a genuine platform. It can be a non-genuine one also. So do be clear, and also always be verify before sending money through these platforms. That is what RBI is trying to say. So these are the various 13 platforms. Just have a glance of the names. The next news is also about ADB. So ADB has approved $434 million loan for the solar energy expansion in Assam. So this is around 3,600 crores to boost the renewable energy sector in Assam. So previously we saw that ADB had approved a loan amount of 241 million to West Bengal. So now ADB, it has approved $434 million to boost the renewable energy sector in Assam. So this funding will go towards the establishment of 500 megawatt solar photovoltaic plant in Karbi Anglong district of Assam. So remember, it is 500 megawatt solar photovoltaic plant. So this will make a major step towards meeting the state's renewable energy target of 3,000 megawatts by 2030. So ADB, apart from $434 million, it will also provide an additional $1 million in technical assistance through its Clean Energy Fund under the Clean Energy Financing Partnership Facility. Remember? So main thing to be remembered here is that $434 million by ADB towards the renewable energy sector in Assam. So previously we saw 241 million provided to the West Bengal by the Asian Development Bank. So next is that Canara HSBC Life Insurance unveils Promise for Future, combining life protection and wealth creation plan. So it is a plan named is Promise for Future. It has been introduced by the Canara HSBC Life Insurance. So this plan is offered in 2 variants. One is Savings for Future, another one is Income for Future. So Savings for Future, it will enable the policyholders to grow their savings while staying protected at every stage of life. And in case of unfortunate event, the money will be, that is the sum assured will be provided to the nominee. Similarly, in case of Income for Future, it will enable a steady income stream, and a lump sum benefit also will be provided to the policyholder. And in case of any unseen events, the sum assured along with the bonus will be provided to the nominee. So remember, the Promise for Future plan is introduced by the Canara HSBC Life Insurance. Next news is about a 300 million euro loan that has been provided to the Bengaluru Suburban Railway project. So the European Investment Bank has approved a loan amount of 300 million euro to fund the Bengaluru Suburban Railway project in Bengaluru. So the Suburban Railway will span a total of 149 kilometers. So if you see, Bengaluru is India's third most populous city. Bengaluru currently has a population of around 14 million and is expected to increase to 20 million by 2030. So to provide logistics to to this increasing population, new suburban projects have been are getting established or getting constructed in the Bengaluru city. So now in this, European Investment Bank will provide a loan of 300 million euro to develop the Bengaluru suburban railway project. And also since 2016, the European Investment Bank has invested around 3.25 billion euro in the Indian transport projects, including a 500 million euro which has been provided for the Bengaluru metro line system. So remember, 300 million euro has been provided by the European Investment Bank to the Bengaluru suburban railway project. Next is that New Delhi-based Housing and Urban Development Corporation. It is a Navaratna central public sector enterprise. It has agreed to lend over 11,000 crore for the development of the new capital of Andhra Pradesh, that is Amaravati Greenfield Capital. So you know that Amaravati is the new capital of Andhra Pradesh. For that development, 11,000 crore will be provided by the Housing and Urban Development Corporation Limited. Also, World Bank and Asian Development Bank together, they will provide an amount of 15,000 crore for the development of the city. So we read about this news only last week, I guess. So last week we read that World Bank and Asian Development together will provide 15,000 crore for the development of Amaravati, and also along with World Bank and Asian Development Bank, HUDCO, that is Housing and Urban Development Corporation, will provide 11,000 crore. The next news is about the GDP projection. So S&P, that is American Credit Rating Agency, S&P Global Market Intelligence, it has released its October Global Economic Forecast. In that, it has projected that the GDP for the financial year 25 in India, it will be around 6.8%, and for the financial year 2026, it will be 6.6%. The next news is about SEBI. SEBI allowed Indian mutual funds to invest in overseas funds with exposure to Indian securities. So what this is telling that we have an Indian mutual fund. So SEBI has told that now this Indian mutual fund can invest in overseas mutual fund which have exposure to Indian securities. So only if it has exposure to Indian securities, these mutual funds can now invest in overseas mutual fund. This is a way of providing more diversification to the mutual funds. So SEBI has allowed the Indian mutual funds to invest in the overseas mutual fund that invest a specific portion of their asset in their Indian securities. So if you see, out of the total assets that the overseas mutual fund invest, at least, not more than 25% should be into the Indian securities. That is what has been told here, which is subject to the condition that the total exposure to the Indian securities by these overseas mutual funds shall not exceed 25% of their net assets. So if there is 100% investment amount by the overseas mutual fund, then not more than 25% should be towards the Indian securities. Only then these mutual funds can invest in this overseas mutual fund. Suppose if these overseas mutual fund exceed this 25% limit, then this overseas mutual fund will be put under the observance period. See, if the exposure to the Indian securities breaches the limit of 25%, then an observance period of 6 months from the date of publicly available information of such breach. So they would have received an information, right, that this 25% has been breached. So from that date, 6 months it will be under the observance period. After that, only our Indian mutual fund can invest, that too only if it is rebalanced. So if you see, in this 6 months of observance period, the mutual funds cannot make any new investments into this overseas mutual fund. That is, the Indian mutual fund companies, they cannot make any new investments into this overseas mutual fund during this observance period of 6 months. After the 6 months, if it is rebalanced, that is, if the investment in the Indian securities is below 25%, then only it can invest in the overseas mutual fund. So during the observance period, the Indian mutual fund schemes are not allowed to take any new investments in such overseas mutual fund and can resume their investments in such overseas mutual fund in case the exposure to the Indian securities falls below the limit of 25%. Remember this, 25% limit is very important. So remember it. So if you see, SEBI, it is an apex regulatory body for securities and commodity market in India. It was initially established as a non-statutory body in 1988. Later, it got the status of the statutory body in 1992. Next news is about India and UAE collaboration in digital payment. So we know that the UPI system of India is very famous, and now this system is being linked to various other systems around the countries. Similarly, one such initiative is happening in UAE also. So it is an effort to link the India's UPI with the UAE's Arabian Automated Network for Instant Payment System. So ANI is powered by AL Etihad Payments AEP, a subsidiary of the Central Bank of the UAE. So the UAE has also committed nearly $2 billion to establish footpaths in India. Additionally, UAE becomes India's fourth largest investor with FDI commitment totaling 3.35 billion in 2023. And apart from that, the Indian Institute of Foreign Trade is launching its first overseas camps in Dubai with plans to starting the training programs by early 2025. And apart from the UPI also, India is planning to establish India's RuPay card technology in the UAE. So this initiative, this J1 card scheme is for that only. This initiative builds on India's RuPay card technology widely deployed by NPCI in India, which has now been adapted and shared with the UAE. So now this RuPay, apart from UPI, this RuPay technology will also be utilized by the UAE country. So if you see, UAE is the first country in the Gulf Cooperation Council region to adapt to this RuPay infrastructure. Next news is about a report that has been published by the State Bank of India. So this is about the income disparity. Now, what is this income disparity? So income disparity is the unequal distribution of the income among the people. So due to this undistribution income, a huge gap has been developed between the rich and the poor. So it gets highlighted even more. So the rich becomes a bit richer and the poor becomes poorer. So this is also one of the reasons for poverty in any country. So it is very important that we keep this income disparity in track and we try to reduce the gap as less as possible. So to measure the income inequality, there is a measurement called Gini coefficient. So Gini coefficient number, it ranges from 0 to 1. A Gini coefficient of 0 indicates perfect equality, whereas a Gini coefficient of 1 indicates a perfect inequality. So let us see what the study has noticed or has established. A recent study of the State Bank of India's Economic Department, the report title is How Tax Simplification Has Given a Necessary Flip to the ITR Filing. So in this report, it has observed that there has been a cumulative of 74.2% decline in the income disparity coverage for those earning up to 5 lakhs annually between the fiscal year 2014 and 2023. So this 74% decline is a very huge number, very appreciating one also. So there has been a 74% decline in the income disparity coverage for those earning up to 5 lakh. The share of the individuals earning up to rupees 3.5 lakh annually in income disparity, it dropped from 31% to 12%. So remember, it has dropped from 31% to 12%. Next is the traditional income tax based states such as Maharashtra, Delhi, Gujarat and Karnataka. They are nearing saturation in the ITR filing, whereas states like Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Andhra Pradesh, Punjab, Rajasthan, they are increasing the tax base. That is, more people are filing their income tax. The number of ITRs filed surged to 8.6 crore in assessment year 2024, up from 7.3 crore in assessment year 2022. The main thing that you have to remember here is that a report has been released by State Bank of India. In that it has observed that a 74% decline has been observed in the income disparity coverage for people earning up to 5 lakh. So if you see these type of objective questions are very rare to be asked. So you can use this whenever this inequality kind of descriptive question is asked. You can use this data to substantiate your answer. Thank you for watching the session. I hope you had enjoyed it. We're also available in Telegram under the name AffairsCloud_official. We also have an Instagram handle. Apart from this, you can contact us directly on 9677333862 regarding any courses that we offer or regarding any payment issues. You can contact directly on this number. Thank you.